Hi everyone, welcome back to Infinity Wealth.
So this is a very exciting video. Now, we wanted to put a video out there to introduce, first of all, who Marttand actually is. We've had a short introduction, which was with our intro video between me and Marttand, but we want to dive deeper to where Marttand's come from, his experience, who Marttand actually is, as in himself. Just so, of course, it makes a big difference to have some sort of credibility. Yeah. Because we have people that are viewers who know us, of course, so they know who you are.
But there's people that don't know.
There's people that don't know you. So we're not, people that haven't had experience in, and this is what we're going to discuss with Marttand's experience. So the way this interview, so it's an interview, and the way this interview is going to work.
And I know none of the questions.
He hasn't seen any of the questions. So the way this interview is going to work is, first of all, we're going to structure it in terms of your business experience, all your professional experience essentially, and your career. And then we got some fun questions which that has no idea what they're about, which will be more about his personality and everything. So we're going to go a bit more deep and trying to get him soft and all that kind of stuff. Okay, anyways, let's begin. The first question we have is, who is Dr. Marttand Patel, away from business, first of all?
Right. Okay. Well, I've been trying to find myself for years.
Okay.
Cool. I get lost.
Okay.
No, I'm really a family man. I would say the most important parts for me are my family. Yeah. I think the family unit is the most important. Above all, is that really? So I would say that everything that I do has always been for my family.
Yeah.
It's never been for me. It's always been to make a better life for my children and those people around me as well.
Nice, that's really good. Okay, next question is, how did you go from, first of all, tell us about what your PhD is in, and then how did you go from a PhD to being an entrepreneur?
Okay, a lot of people talk about the books that they've published. I've published one. It's in the British Library. Right? Okay. So you can go and pull it out anytime. Wow. It's on microfiche. So all PhDs theses are always available at the British Library. Yeah. And that was a good ambition that I had, that I've always wanted to be that. But it was bioinorganic chemistry with kinetics. Okay. So it was working, first of all, I worked with, if you remember in the 80s, there was a big thing about aluminium causing Alzheimer's. Okay. Yeah. So I investigated aluminium and iron 3. So iron 3 and aluminium are very similar chemical properties. Mm-hmm. So I investigated something called chelating agents, which actually binds to a molecule, right? Brings it in. So I looked at absorption through the gut, and I'm boring you now because it's too scientific. So I looked at that. I looked at kinetics. I did synthesis of different chelating agents. So it's pretty intense. I've given talks, international talks on my work as well. Yeah. Prior to everything else as well. Yeah. What else would you like to know?
And how did you go from your PhD to being an entrepreneur? Because typically, of course, if you've gone through so much education...
Yeah, you're a lab coat.
You're in a lab coat. So
well, the thing is, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Okay. That entrepreneur, if I can I give you a little bit of family history?
Go for it.
Right. As you know, I come from Gujarat. Yeah. When my grandfather was very young, Gujarat had a big famine. Right, so it was high drought, and my grandfather went from India to Africa. Okay. The British were in Africa building railways, but he didn't go to build the railways. What he did was he actually tried to go and find a better life. Mm-hmm. So I think that entrepreneurial skill comes from, I think it's a family thing, right? Yeah. So my grandfather went from India to Kenya and Uganda. And he became a cotton trader, right? Okay. So trading is in my blood. Okay. He actually became a cotton trader. My father was born in Africa, was then sent back to be educated in India. And, so my uncles didn't even know, because my father's the oldest in the family. Yeah. they didn't even know him. And this is a story that my uncle told me very recently. He said, you know, I didn't meet your father until I was 21, and I met him on the ship at Mombasa when I was coming back over from, you know, when he was coming back from Gujarat, and we were still in Africa. You know, so that's where it really stems from. So I've always had that entrepreneurial heart. My father was an entrepreneur. So in East Africa, we set up a bicycle business. So we were, or not me, my father and my grandfather, they were importing rally bicycles from Nottingham. Because you know, the African market, they can't afford cars, they can afford cycles. So we were importing cycles from Africa and selling them on. And obviously after that, you know, with Idi Amin coming into power in Uganda, we lost it all. So Idi Amin basically said, you know, all you Asians get out of our country. You've got 48 hours or whatever it was, or a week, and we left with nothing. So we came to the UK with absolutely not a penny. My father did have 500 shillings on anything he could manage to salvage. The houses were left, everything was left, and we came over with my mum's gold jewellery as well. And from there, you know, we stayed in a little terraced house in Hendon. My uncle put us up. But we were basically refugees, so it was a very small terraced house with 8 people, 2 families living there. And within 6 months, you know, my dad did Anchor Glass, so he worked at Anchor Glass in Hendon, which made glass syringes. He managed to, he worked there for 6 months. My uncle then became a guarantor, and we were able to, and spoke to Lloyd's Bank at the time. He was able to, and using my mum's jewellery, we were able to actually borrow the money to buy a sweet shop. And then, yeah, we just developed from there, basically. So,
that's fantastic.
That's
really great. That's a great story. Okay, what's been your best business experience?
Okay, I've enjoyed all of them. The thing that, there's a couple of things that spring to mind. And one of the things that springs to mind is probably the order that I took when I was working in textiles. And I was with a mate of mine in Birmingham. We were playing golf. Because he said, "Listen, you get out, come and see me." So I said, "All right, listen, I've got some work up in Birmingham, so I'll come and see you." And I was on the, we were on the golf course. I think it was the 5th tee, and the phone rang, and I had a massive order. I had a massive order, and it was just like, bloody hell, that was good. You know, it just came out of the blue. You know, it was Wallace at the time. The buyers phoned me up and said, right, Matt, everyone knows him as Matt. Matt, we've got an order for you. You know, we'd like to fly it over. How soon can you do it? And it was to make jackets, ladies' jackets. So I was in ladies' fashion, basically.
Fantastic.
So I'd say that was one of them. And then the other things were, you know, being able to actually fight back from all the downs that I had. I think it was actually fighting back. And that really motivated me to do that.
Because you went from textiles to
so you know, you ask how did you get into textiles? You know, I've got 2 European fellowships as well. So I'm at the pinnacle. You know, I gave a talk in the University of Padua in Italy. It was an international symposium. I was an invited speaker, unheard of at the age of 21, 22, right? But my work, you know, I've got 13 international publications. So they had said, yeah, we'd like to come and talk at our event, young man. So I went there, I'd reached the pinnacle, but what had happened is that we had the 1991 recession. If anyone can remember the ERM, and interest rates went sky high to about 14%. My father was struggling in his business at the time because he had is a German supplier basically shipping some dodgy goods. He was in a court case, but interest rates, you know, we opened letters of credit, which most people don't understand, but we opened letters of credit and we pay for goods up front. And unfortunately, he opened the container and it was just full of rubbish because it was a recession, so they shipped that out to protect themselves. My father really struggled, and unfortunately that business folded with him owing a huge debt. I'd come back, at that time I was doing a European fellowship in Groningen, so I'd come back to the UK. I'd had a couple of interviews with Gillette in Reading, and I was virtually offered a job
Right.
And the funny story is, I actually phoned up the guy afterwards because I wasn't offered the job.
Okay.
So I said, "Hang on a minute, I don't mean presumptuous, but you said, He said, "Yeah, I was virtually offering you the job." He said, "But what's happened is that I've had 2 Oxford graduates who worked at BP with 5 years industrial experience who will take a pay cut."
Wow.
And there's the same wage as you, and I can have 2 of them at the price of you.
Wow.
I just went, okay, fine. And that's when I just went, okay. And then I looked at my father, who was in pretty dire straits. So then I decided what I'd do is just take a back seat, and I'd help my father.
Yeah.
So then we set up a company together. Yeah. And we still had the debts because he'd written personal guarantees. So the main objective of that was to actually get rid of his personal liabilities, really. Wow. So I helped my father, and we set up Marttand, basically, and we grew from there, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Going from science in a lab coat to working in women's fashion, and at the time it was great. I wasn't married. Yeah. It was brilliant. I had a fab time. If you're watching, Fiona, no. But cut that bit out, but it was great, and it was London, it was buzzing. I was going to Frankfurt, I was going to Paris, I was going all over. Wow. I had a buzz, and fashion at the time was great. It was really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, they say things happen for a reason.
They do, and that gave me the chance because even if I'd gone into chemistry at some stage, I would have left to set up my own business. Yeah. So
it was always
Okay,
super. Okay, so obviously we know you're a property investor, and a very experienced one as well. Yeah. So how and when did you get involved in property? How the bit from business to property?
So really I've been in property for a long time. Okay. Most of the people that are in textiles were in textiles. Textiles at the time was throwing off a lot of money, right? And a lot of the people were actually investing their money into property. Right. Okay. But if I property in London at the time was 30,000, 60,000, 50,000. It was crazy, right? Yeah. And people were buying the properties. Now, being me, I always like being first and just trying to drive it home. Yeah. That's the kind of personality I have. I went into trading because I thought, property's too much. I was thinking I can make X amount straight away doing the trading. Right. And friends of mine were in property. I'd also gone to auctions and Hastings. I looked at Hastings, right? Yeah. At that time, I'd driven all the way. So this Climate auction in, I think it was 94, 95, something like that. Can't remember. Maybe 96 even. Mm-hmm. Property is a hard game. Yeah. That's something that people don't realise. So when you're trading, it's a case of pressing a button and going, I made a profit or I made a loss. Yeah. It's very easy, right? So I was drawn into that rather than into the property side, but I've done all the property side. Yeah. And it wasn't until I lost all that money that I actually felt, hang on, I want some stability, that I decided to get into property. Yeah. But the whole time I was involved in property, still looking at stuff, still thinking, well, I can do that. But our very first deals were, everyone aspires to get to a big house, don't they? Yeah. One of the things is that I did was to actually, we bought a flat, we refurbished it, we sold it on, just to move up the ladder. Yeah. And I would suggest to a lot of people, that's a good way of doing it, basically. Yeah. So, and it teaches you a whole load of experience. So, it was still negotiating with estate agents, picking up really good deals. Yeah. And because of that recession, it was perfect. It was a perfect time. So that's how it really started. Okay. And then I have to maintain concentration between the textile business and also property as well. Yeah. So that's why.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. It's very interesting. So, what's currently your objective in property, and was that always your objective from property specifically, not business?
Yeah, property. I saw property as a security vehicle for my family. Yeah. Right. First and foremost, I didn't. Property for me wasn't, I'm going to make millions. I'm going to do this. It wasn't that. It was really a vehicle to provide security for my family. Mm-hmm. Now, bearing in mind, I've been, I've lost everything twice. Yeah. Right. So the first time was in the dot-com bubble. Mm-hmm. As I said to you, what happened was, throwing up lots of cash. I was actually day trading, and at that time, very tech stocks. you know, I could be making 6,000, 5,000 a day. You know, so what I was doing was, you know, reading the Reuters news feeds that I had. Knew that it would be in the papers, and that people would then be buying those shares the following morning. So I was buying it in the close before the close, and then selling it at the end of the day. Now I was caught up, obviously. I was doing that, but I wasn't trained to do that. But it was just the business experience trying to do that, and then I lost it all basically because I took some. They all turned into dust basically. And then the next time was with Northern Rock, where I had full leverage going on, and I lost it all. And I had to start again. And I have to say, you know, one thing that has made me successful is my wife. Okay, without my wife, I wouldn't be as successful as I am, because she is the anchor, right? She lets me get on with stuff. Yeah, that's right. You know, there's always someone behind a partnership, right? Of course. And my wife is that partnership. You know, we work so well together.
That's special.
But she let me get on with it. She didn't kick me out of the house. The fact that we were broke, right? That she had to go and work. You know, or she just gave me a big hug and said, "Listen, if we need to downsize to a smaller house, then it will do that. What's important to me is our family staying together." And I made a promise to her at that time that I would not let her down, and I would make us whole again. And that's when I looked at, you know, obviously I didn't jump on my feet and go, I didn't. I had my downtime, as in felt really low. My self-esteem was to the ground, which is why I can, you know, I have a lot of empathy with people who are like that. And I want to help, you know, because I've been through that. I've been through that shit, you know. And you know, it was the lowest point in my life. I was drinking, I was smoking, because I mean, for 6 months, it wasn't as if I bounced back like that. It was actually forgiving myself, forgiving. You know, I'm an educated guy. I'm a pretty smart guy, and the fact that I'd done it twice, you know. But I'd said to my wife, I'd made a solemn promise at the kitchen table when Northern Rock were just about to open up. Her first words were, "Have we lost the house?" And it was that, you know, I had Northern Rock on full margin at 250,000 shares on full margin. My first margin call was £500,000. It was like deer in the headlights, you know. But yeah, look, I came through that, and that's why I want to help people, right? When you've had money and lost money, you know that money's not important. So getting into property was to actually provide security for my family. First and foremost, you know, I wanted a passive income. I'd done solar. Solar had its ups and downs, but I wanted stability for my family. So that's really why I got into property, not to, you know, make millions or anything. First and foremost, it was to provide security for my family.
Wow, that's fantastic, phenomenal. Honestly, that's really amazing. Okay, I think this last one, I think you sort of answered it, but I think you could say it again maybe. So why property and not anything else? Okay, no, it's not. Why did I just go into property? I mean, I guess the question is more geared towards. Okay, so I understand that you was in a textile business. A lot of people were investing in the textiles, but obviously you also knew other ways of creating wealth, like trading. Why did you decide? What was a decisive thing for you?
First of all, I was banned from trading by my wife. Not by any company, but by my wife. Right. So I concentrated more on you know, my setting up my solar business. Right. I think first and foremost in business, you know, you can't have too many. You've got to focus. As long as you're focused, and one of the core characters of me is I'm very, very focused, laser focused. Property, why not anything else? You know, one thing that I'm very, very good at, right, and I don't want, you know, and I hope people will learn that. It is to identify trends, and that's my scientific research. To actually look further ahead. Why did I leave textiles? Right, I left textiles because I could see the writing on the wall with China. Right. I was going to China way before what was going on, but I could see that, you know, we were buying goods from China, goods from Korea, Indonesia, Taiwan, you name it, I've been there, right, in the 90s. We were bringing them to factories here. We were manufacturing the garments here. Then we started manufacturing in Eastern Europe. And I could clearly see, you know, anyone with a little bit of common sense would realise, hang on a minute, this ain't going to make sense in a couple of years because these guys are going to set up a factory there and they're going to be ready-made garments here. So it's going to destroy our business because we were middlemen, right? So that's when because I saw that writing on the wall, and I think that is one of the core strengths that I have.
That is really, really good. Fantastic. Okay, so now We've done the business side.
Okay.
Now this is the one. These are the fun ones. These questions are more about your personality.
Okay.
I think actually we've dived quite deep into your character as well, which is really great because what is really great to see is, I mean, even in business, it's always human principles that normally rule, right?
Absolutely.
If you have humility, if you're doing your business with genuine ethical values, you're always going to
grow. Always going to grow, Kiki. Exactly. Always. You know, like with my solar company, you know, my first principle was always to the client.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Okay. Because the client is the most important part of your business.
Exactly.
And you know, to make sure that they're completely happy. So I couldn't agree with you more. You know,
exactly.
Those core principles, you often find, you know, that's what's important to most entrepreneurs. Really,
it is. It is. It's a massive part of it.
Yeah.
So these ones are more of, like, I guess what you think of yourself and also your personality itself.
Right.
Okay, so fun question number one.
Okay, fun question. Okay.
What makes you unique?
What makes me unique?
Yeah.
Okay. I would say to you, you know, one of the things about me is obviously having the foresight.
Yeah.
Being able to take that vision forward and seeing what's coming or anticipating what's coming. But the other thing is, you know, you can be smarter than me, you can be richer than me, but you'll never outwork me.
Wow.
Right? You will never ever outwork me.
Like that.
Which is why I am hugely successful.
Yeah.
Because most people don't, and that's a philosophy and a core built into me. Yeah. Right. You may be richer, maybe smarter, and there are.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
But you'll never outwork me.
Yeah. I love that. I really like that. I love that. If there's one part of your life you could redo again, what would it be?
Okay. If I'm honest, I wouldn't change anything. The reason why I wouldn't change anything is because my experiences have made me who I am now.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been through the shit and I've had my real downs, but it's made me who I am today. Yeah. And it's made me a hugely strong person. So, you know, if you say to me, well, did you want to change that? Everything that I've experienced has brought me to today, right? And even, there may be other things that go on, and it will bring me to tomorrow. And I'm always learning, so I don't have any regrets. You know, even if I hadn't lost all that money with Northern Rock, I would have still been a different person because it was the second time I built myself up. Yeah. Maybe I'll be more blasé about money and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. But it made me a stronger person. You know, I think one of my personalities is, I'll never ever fail. Mm-hmm. I've got that self-belief. Yeah. And that self-belief comes in from the experiences that I've had. Yeah. And that self-belief can't be read, can't be taught. It has to be experienced. Yeah. And that's what I've done. So I think that's it basically. Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. Worst part of being an entrepreneur and or property investor?
Okay. So let's do property investor.
Okay.
I think the worst part of being a property investor is dealing with tradesmen.
Okay.
Right. You know some of the experiences that I'm having at the moment, and we're going to do something about cowboy builders and stuff like that. Yeah. I think the worst part of property is dealing with tradesmen. I'm not blanketing all tradesmen. There's good ones and there's bad ones, but you know they're a different breed. And I am going to bring a friend of mine, James, who did solar with me. I think you'll find it hugely. This guy bought a bungalow and knocked it down to the ground and built a house. No courses, nothing. Wow. Absolutely nothing. Wow. Right? Now this guy has as much balls, and I used to say to him, "You're a younger version of me, but I'm better looking." That's been joking, James. He's taller as well, by the way. But I think we should get James in because he's an amazing character. He really is.
That'll be great.
But so for me, the hardest part in property is not necessarily finding the deals. The thing that I love about property the most is actually property is a people's game. Yeah. I'm a very people person. Yeah. Right. And interacting with estate agents, interacting with other people in property, I love that. Yeah. I do love that. Yeah. I love that social interaction. The social interactions, and I do like social interactions with some builders. Yeah. But the hard part is the bullshit that comes out of these builders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially builders up north.
Yeah.
Who basically think because you're a Londoner you don't know it, right? I think most people have experienced that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that. It's the hard. That's I would say to you. I hate property for that, right? Because it gets you down. You just think, what an idiot. You know, what are you doing? Do you think I'm a muppet?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the worst aspect of property.
Yeah.
For me.
Okay.
It's working with. I don't get me wrong. I work with good guys as well, good tradesmen. You know.
Yeah.
So I've got my gas guys, my electrical guys. They're great.
Yeah.
But it's only some of these interactions with builders who just try to rub the wool over your eyes, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the hardest part about being an entrepreneur, I wouldn't say it's anything. I find it quite exciting.
Okay.
It's the property the builders that I hate. But being an entrepreneur, I find it exciting, and I would never do something if I didn't find it enjoyable.
Yeah.
So one of the things is I've got a good friend of mine in Holland, Patel.
Yeah.
And the running joke is, it's been 10 years. What are you going to start now? He said, your thing is you go from here to here to here, and even though you've got a successful business, you get bored and you start something else. So he said, what are you starting? So if you think about it, exactly right. Right. If you think about it, it's a 10-year cycle. Yeah. I'm thinking, all right, we started something new here. Let's make it work.
You reached that objective.
Yeah, okay. yeah. And you know, it was us. Yeah. It was actually me trying to help you, which brought us to this position, wasn't it? Really?
100%.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So the next one is, I think it's from your experience, but it's also a bit of a fun question as well. Now, entrepreneurship is a very hot topic now because I think you're part of the baby boomers, right?
No, I'm not that old.
Okay, you're not. Okay,
not that old yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But there's still a gap.
I'm in between.
In between, okay. There's still a gap between your generation and our generation, which are called the millennials, right?
Yeah.
Now, we're in a WeWork.
Yeah.
WeWorks are normally targeted at millennials.
Yeah.
Because millennials love the fancy.
Brilliant. I love it. Yeah.
Paying Paul whilst doing their work kind of stuff. But there's a big buzz of entrepreneurship going around. Yeah. Now, my personal view is it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. Now, entrepreneurship has become cool, and it's losing its value in terms of the definitive term, if that makes sense. Yeah. What would you like, just 2-3 tips to a genuine entrepreneur? Yeah. Give to a young person. Yeah. Who is who's looking. Who's looking to either set up his own business or provide a solution to any sort of problem, especially in the real world. Now, what would be your advice as going for that?
I think that's a great question, by the way. Right, first and foremost, I always believe in loving the thing that you're going to do. Yeah. Right? Just don't do it for the sake of the money. Yeah. Money's not important. Yeah. You've got to love what you're doing. Yeah. Right? So let's say the other thing that a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, make a mistake of, they think they've got an idea and they try to run with it. Yeah. But what they fail to realise is sometimes that idea may not mathematically work out. Yeah. Right? So it's understanding, it may be that you're passionate about it, but you've got to bring logic to it as well, right? So the practicality of it. So you may be passionate about something, but so I'll give you an example. I had a mentee about 4 or 5 years ago now, and he wanted to sell yoga mats. Okay. Right? So he was very much into yoga, which is great. Yeah. And he wanted to set up this Amazon business in yoga mats. The market is hugely competitive.
Massively.
Right?
Hugely.
You're going to get deflated. Yeah. It's hugely competitive. I always think for a young entrepreneur, I would say try and find a niche with maximum margin. Yeah. That's what you're looking at.
That's great.
That's business.
That's great.
That's business. Yeah. It's not, I'm interested in it, I'm looking for something that I'm really interested in, it's niche, and it's got huge margin. Wow. Look at the stuff that I've done. Yeah. Niche, margin. That's it. It's business. Yeah. Right? So I would say to any young entrepreneur, when you're looking at a business and you're starting up, look at that. Yeah. You may be excited about the next roller skate or stuff like that. Great. Yeah, great. As long as there's traction in it, as long as you can differentiate yourself from the market. Yeah. So one of the things a friend of mine said to me in solar, and a Dutch friend of mine, he actually said, well, your lifespan's going to be quite short. And I said, yeah, but I'm passionate about it. Yeah. and I'm not sure if it's going to be short because I don't know what legislation is going to bring. Unfortunately, legislation came, we saw the writing on the wall, and thought, yeah, that's great, okay, we'll move on.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at wind turbines, by the way, we didn't talk about that. Okay. But, yeah, before I went into trading, I actually looked at wind turbines, importing wind turbines from Germany. Right. So it cost £500,000 to buy a wind turbine. Yeah. And I looked at energy generation because I've always been passionate about renewable energy. Yeah. Right. But it is looking at margin. So when I look at a business, I always say, okay, I'm really passionate about it. That's great. Am I going to be able to maintain a high margin? Is it niche? Mm-hmm. How can I differentiate myself from everyone else in that game?
Okay, that's fab. That's brilliant. I mean, even for me, that was really, really good. Okay, so last one, the fun question. Yeah. What do you enjoy doing in your free time? And I know you're a person who can't sit still. Yeah. That's why I really wanted to ask this question.
Okay, look, what I love, I'm a bit of a movie guy. Okay. Right, I love movies, right, and that's my chill out. So I've got my cinema room at home. Nice. Yeah, so that I like doing that. The other thing I like. Shawshank Redemptions, I would say. Okay. Yeah, I would say Shawshank Redemptions. I love that. I like that. Obviously, the Godfather trilogy as well.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. But Shawshank Redemptions, there's quite a few. You know, there's quite a few. Yeah. Actually, one of the things was, when I was feeling down. Yeah. Right. Cinderella Man.
Right. Okay.
I watched that.
Cinderella. Oh,
can you remember? You got knocked the shit. Oh, you've got to watch that. Right. Yeah. So I watched that to pick. I watch a lot of inspiring films as well. Feel good films. Yeah. So I've got a category called feel good films. But I don't watch horror. I'm not into horror films. I'm not into that. Sci-fi, everything else. But for me, the most are inspiring type films. So Cinderella Man was great. It wasn't a huge, maybe it was a box office one. Yeah. But for me, it was the story behind it and the comeback. You know? So I watched a lot of those type of films. Those comeback ones. So and F1. I love F1, right? Nice. Apart from, so obviously that involves me sitting down for a few hours, right? But I like F1 as well. I used to play a lot of golf, but I don't find time for golf. Okay. What I tend to do is I tend to read a lot, not books necessarily, but obviously trading books. Yeah. But not business books, but more in tune with what I like to have a pulse on what's going on. And I think that's really my scientific background as well. Yeah. So I like reading, trying to create different ideas in my head. Yeah. And I enjoy it. And my wife always says, "When are you going to switch off?" I go, "Well, this is relaxation for me." Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is relaxing. I enjoy it. I love it. This is relaxing.
You enjoy growing and learning.
It's relaxation. Other people will think of it as work. Yeah. For me, it's enjoyment.
Yeah, that's great. That's really.
So that I would say that those are the things. And kids. Yeah. Right. I don't spend as much time with the kids as I'd like to. Because I can't sit still. Yeah. Right. I can't. And I've always said to them, we should get them over. And by the way, they've got a brilliant mindset. Yeah. My kids have got an absolute superb mindset. Yeah. So I would say that and my family. I try to make as much time. My father's not well, so I'm always looking after him. But that, and helping others. Yeah. So I would say that. You were saying, well, what makes you excited? This makes me excited because we're helping someone. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we're helping someone, and that's I think where we need to differentiate ourselves at Infinity Wealth is there's lots of people that giving courses and stuff like that charge huge amounts of money. Yeah, right. And and I know that they charge 27 grand, 7 grand, whatever it is. Yeah. Right. They charge huge amounts of money, but I feel that they don't provide value.
Yeah, the value is missing.
The value is missing. Yeah. Right. And what we wanted to try and do is to try and be completely different, to provide value first, and connection with our audience, exactly. Right? And then to help them grow, help them grow through, and stay with them and say, look, we're a community. This is how we're going to grow. Yeah. So hopefully they'll share everything as well, and we can grow. You guys, share us. Yeah, it's important, isn't it?
It is definitely. Okay,
I'm going to pass it down to him.
Check it out.
So, once we've made it, I'll go, I've done that one now, tick.
Then I'll be moving on to my projects in every 10 years. Yeah, I'll do it every 5 years.
Yeah, that's right. I'll
carry the legacy on.
Do every 5 years, that's right. diminish the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll finish off with this. This is really interesting, actually. I really want to ask you to get your opinion on it. So I'm going to read a bit off of here.
Okay,
if you
sure.
don't mind. So in the 1960s, there was around 18 gold rushes. So you know gold rushes? Obviously.
Yeah, of course I do.
Of course. So if anybody doesn't know, it's a time where people are digging for gold.
Yeah.
It's like a mad rush.
Yeah.
And there's been over time there's been so many.
Yeah.
But in the 1960s.
Absolutely.
Around that time, there was the most, which was around 18 gold rushes. These were across Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Canada,
America,
South Africa, and America.
Canada, yeah.
So now, basically, the reason why I bring this up is a thing that I heard is the people that made the most money in the gold rush
were selling the tools.
Were selling the shovels.
True.
Not the people that actually who thought they were digging their fortunes.
Correct.
Up, right?
Correct.
People thought that they were digging, they're going to build a massive fortune, but actually the real people that built their fortunes were the people that sold the shovels, the tools to those people.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is coming back to a bit of advice. What would you give advice to not only the young generation, but even people that are trying to build something now in terms of using that principle and using the principle of selling the tools to people that are having a rush? And what do you see that in the current market? If that makes sense. How do you apply that in the current?
Yeah, when you're looking at the marketplace right now. Yeah. Because you're into you do web design, right?
Yeah.
So by the way, if you need web design, easy man, right? But yeah, so in that you're providing the tools.
Yeah.
Right.
For businesses to
businesses to succeed. Your market is fiercely competitive. You and I have talked about that, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that people help you out and you can grow the business as well.
Yeah.
Right? But I would say right now, looking at what's available out there, I don't know. You have to decide whether you're in the service sector.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the service sector, you're the tool basically, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're in the service sector,
yeah,
it depends on sector to sector. If I'm honest with you, Kiki,
yeah.
It's quite a broad spectrum. What businesses would I go into right now?
Yeah.
Apart from things like this.
Yeah.
I am looking at other avenues, which, if you don't mind, I'd like to keep to my chest at the moment. But I am looking at other avenues. Because we looked at a Dutch friend of mine, and we looked at cryptocurrencies. And launching something like that. But I am looking at other stuff. But as far as tools are concerned, it's some of the tooling industry, like computers, has become very, very, very competitive. The thing is, the world is opened up. Right. The world is opened up. I think the best way to think about it is where Steve Jobs. Right. If you think about him, he made Apple really successful because he thought about the end consumer and what made their job easier. Think about that.
That's so true.
How did he make Apple so successful? Is because of the interface that he provided. He had that vision and he had the customer in mind and designed a product with the customer in mind. Most people just design the bloody product. Don't be one of them. Have the customer in mind and tailor it to them. And his one was the interface and the experience. Which is why those products are great. By the way, I don't have an Apple product. You know I'm not an Apple product. But I just give you an example. Right? That gives you an example of stuff like that.
And you sell very well, Super.
So I hope that answered your question.
That did answer my question. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's one part to this video that we wanted to add on. Well, actually, Marttand wanted to add on.
I wanted to talk about it,
I think it's really important as well. And to be honest with you, I'm going to let Marttand go,
I mean, the thing is, when we did the video, it was totally spontaneous. And I didn't know any of the questions, but having there was a few things that I really wanted to cover, which I didn't cover, right? And there were some great questions, by the way, Kiki. I really like them. But one of the things that Kiki asked me was, what was the best thing that you've had experience in business? Well, I've had a number of them, but I just read out the first one that came to mind. But the one that really gave me a lot of more self-confidence, if you like, was when, you know, when I'd lost the money the second time, you know, I was desperate. You may have been in this position, so it's really to try and inspire you. If I can do it, you can do it. At that time in my life, I had no income coming in at all. We were relying on my wife's income the whole time. Now, I was very desperate, right? So what I had done is I'd gone round to local estate agents saying, well, I know property, so maybe I can do, maybe I can become a salesman. They'd laughed, basically. When you see my CV, you'll know why they'd laughed, right? You know, they just said you're well overqualified. I was also interested in solar, right, renewable energy. So the other idea was for me to go to recruitment companies, right? Bearing in mind that I've already set up my own company in different industries. So I actually went to some recruiters. So I told them I was interested in solar. I had a PhD and I understood solid state chemistry and everything else. You know, they refused me. Right? What they said was, but you don't have any sales experience. And I tried to explain to them at the time, listen, I can do anything, right? I can do anything. And these guys basically said no. So I then set up my own solar company, okay? I then went up and out of my own, and I'm glad that they said no, right? I went up and set up my own solar company. What happened was a year later, these same recruiters, and I felt like saying to them, by the way, do you remember me? You didn't offer me a job, right? They were then offering us candidates.
Wow, that must have felt
right?
good.
And you know, when you talked about a buzz, that's a buzz, right? You know, when you go from zero to that sort of turnover, and people are phoning you and saying, and you feel like saying, I remember you, mate. Do you remember me? And they didn't have a clue, right? So that and really the reason why I'm telling you that is, it should inspire you. You know, if I could do it, you can do it. And one of my main mindsets is that if any other human being can do it, you can do it. It may take you longer, but you can do it, right? If it's possible by another human being, why is it not possible by you? You know, obviously there are limitations to it. You can't be a super athlete unless you've got that. But anything else, I've always put my mind to it. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, you know, what...
And by the way, I just want to say that's super relatable to a lot of people. And this is why when we discussed this after, I really wanted you to mention these 2-3 things.
And I felt it's important because people go through shit in life.
Exactly, right? So thank you for sharing that.
No, that's fine, And then the other bit was the reason why, you know, I do a lot of charity, which I didn't mention in the video. And it all relates back to this one period in my life. There are other periods in my life, but this was the most traumatic, the most, you know, the period that was probably the worst and the best, which was when I'd lost all the money second time around. My father actually took me on a pilgrimage, right? We're Hindus. He took me on a pilgrimage to India. He said, listen, God, you must have done something wrong. God, we need to go on a pilgrimage and pray to God, right? So he paid for the India flight. We went to all these temples in India, right? And we went to a temple called Mathura, right, which is where Krishna was born.
Right.
This particular temple it's in a village in the middle of nowhere. Now there was lots of poor people in that village, and you know all the priests were fully fed, fully fat, but there was raw sewage in the streets and everything else. And these guys, the people in the village weren't being looked after by the mandir, by the temple. So. Yeah, and when we sat down, they ask you to do a puja and pray to God and forgive and so what have you. And the priestess actually then came out and started saying, I will donate, and made us recite, I will donate this much money. And that's when I stopped. And I said to my father, hold on a minute, he's asking us to make a donation. Instead of doing puja and praying to God, he's asking us to do a donation, which is wrong. And that's when my dad just said, look, just keep quiet, it's fine. And I told the priest at the time, I was so annoyed, I was so built up by that these poor guys outside weren't doing anything. I had made a solemn promise to God when I, and this is very personal to me, that I had said, if you make me whole again, I will come back and I will do good for the poor in India. That was my promise, right? That was my promise. And that's why, for me, charity is so important, because in that way I am fulfilling my obligation to doing what I had said I would do. And that is one of the main things, why I do charity. You know, and I want to say to people, you know, you can build yourself back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can build yourself back up.
Yeah.
Remember your humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Remember that, and for me, that's why we're doing this. You know, it's a case of helping people. Because each person, you know, when I went through life, right, you've made money, lost money, made money, you realise that money is not important.
Yeah.
Right? What is important in life, and that you will remember when you're a lot older, is how you've been in your life. What interactions have you had? Yeah. What good have you done? You know, and what impact have you had? You know, one of the main things, you know, with a lot of people is that they want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I am no different. Yeah, I am no different. But for me, that is why charity is such a big goal in me, right? Which is because I've made a promise to God. And, you know, I want to set up a foundation to fulfill what I've been blessed with. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to add, which I didn't get a chance to add.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's really meaningful, honestly.
Yeah.
I think,
so,
again, personal experience is what really drove that.
Yeah, and it is personal experience. And the other thing is, you know, when you're that down in life, when you're that far down, you can't be kicked anymore.
Yeah.
You tend to find you do your best work.
Yeah.
Because you lose all inhibitions.
Yeah.
You know, I was desperate, so it was a case of just trying to make things work. You will try anything, to make things work. So you lose all these inhibitions that you have, and sometimes, you know, if you're in that way and you're feeling down, it's probably the best time that you are going to get motivated.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You've got everything to gain.
Yeah.
And when you're that low, you know, you can only go up.
Yeah.
You can't go any further down.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? And that's what people have to remember. You know, so you may be feeling that. If you are feeling that, remember those things. So I hope it helps, really.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt it was important to share it.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. Honestly, well, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been fun, actually.
It's been really fun.
It's been fun.
We're doing these videos, of course, especially the interview series, so you can understand.
They're a bit lengthy, but hopefully it's really to inspire people. So
exactly.
I hope my story inspires people.
Exactly.
You know, that you can come from nothing twice.
Yeah.
Those people who've been, you know, who've lost it all, just keep at it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there always has to be hope.
Yeah.
Never give up on hope.
Yeah, exactly.
And work with the right people.
Yeah.
That can help you achieve that as well.
Yeah, that's an important one. I think, you know, a lot of people, I mean, again, I've had my fair share of business experience. People get into partnerships very quickly. People get without any understanding the person.
Exactly.
I mean, for us, it's been 3 years since we've known each other. And
is it 3 or 4? I can't remember.
3 or 4 years, something like that. We've not obviously as consistently as now, but like still known of each other and have what we're
but we still communicate. I still communicate with a lot of my mentees.
That's it. So, you know, I mean, sometimes it could take that much to come to a decision, and you know, and that's an important part you raised.
Absolutely.
But so we hope you know more about Marttand now.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
You're still awake.
Of course. Yeah, you're still awake, not sleeping. But apart from that, thank you again so much for tuning into our content. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. There's lots of more content coming. If you have any suggestions, let us know.
Let us know. Absolutely.
Email will be
don't forget, Kiki, we're doing it for them.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're targeting you guys. We need you to share our content. Right.
In order for
make us grow. Right.
Exactly.
And in return, we'll give you free classes.
Free classes. We got workshops. So again, we've got workshops every single month. So make sure you go to our website and check out what workshop is coming up next month, where it is, what time it is, etc., etc., etc. But apart from that, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed it, and see you in the next video.
See you later. Bye.